You know, that whole phrase about work smarter, not harder, right? Well, my grandfather, he was like the king of working smarter, not harder. Except smarter meant the possibility of dying to get the job done, right? I remember years ago, so my grandfather has this huge ladder that goes all the way to the roof of the house. And, you know, he would carry it out, obviously, and then he would put it up, and then he climbed all the way to the top. And then he would clean, you know, try to clean the gutters. And, you know, he would then climb back down the ladder. And then he realized, you know what, this is just all these extra steps, you know, literally all these extra steps I have to take, right? So he went back up to the top and he started cleaning the next section of the gutters on the roof. And then after he was done with that section, instead of climbing back down, he stayed at the top of the ladder, and then he started to just hop with the whole freaking ladder to the next side, you know? So naturally my family had a heart attack, and, you know, nothing happened to him, thank God. But, you know, it was just one of the most hilarious things that I think anybody in my family had done. So I wanted to talk real quick, well, it's not going to be that quick, but a little bit about slow performance and what you might be able to do for your machine, especially if you have, you know, a Mac, because they're very expensive and you're not, you know, ready to go out there and, you know, spend another couple of $1,000s on something new yet. But a lot of times I get a lot of customers and other techs who, you know, the computer is running really slow, and they'll tell me, oh, it's probably a virus, you know, but I just need you to check it out. So we check it out, and it's not really infected with anything. It turns out that the issue is the storage device, the hard drive. So just to clarify, because there are still people who don't really understand, if your storage device is failing, if it's bad, if there's something wrong with it, your machine can still boot up. You can still get into the Windows desktop. You can still get into the Mac you know, OS desktop a lot of the time, okay? It's just your machine's running slow because the computer's having trouble accessing the information off the damaged drive, all right? And I'm saying this because a lot of people, you know, in the past I've had some issues with every company I've worked for, you know, and now with my own little company here, people will tell me, well, it was working before I gave it to you. And it's no, it wasn't working properly. You know, the device itself is failing. That's the problem, you know. Luckily, it's really not that expensive. And when you, the other thing too, especially with Macs, is people who upgrade an older Mac to Yosemite or El Capitan or Sierra, and the machine starts running really, really slow, it's because, I don't have a spare one here, but it's because you're using an older hard drive. So anytime if you have a machine that has an older hard drive, so I think I've got one, hold on. I got one over here actually. So if you're still using, like if your machine is still using something like this, in, you know, the older standard drives, the best thing to do is actually buy a solid state drive, especially for Mac users, okay? I don't think the focus on the camera is going to come into clear. I got to mess with the settings. But anyway, this is a Western Digital PC solid state drive, 250 gig, which I got, you know, I got it on sale at Newegg for, it was like $70, which is a great price. And the reason why the Mac slowed down is because the last three OSs are kind of designed specifically to work on a solid state drive. So if you don't have a solid state drive and you have El Capitan Yosemite or Sierra, the machine is going to be running really, really slow. So the best thing to do, which I have learned, is not only do you get a solid state drive, but you can, if you have like a local tech shop, or if you call me if you're in the area, going back to OS Mavericks, which is still supported by Apple and all other third parties currently at this time, and getting a solid state hard drive alone, really, like, it's insane the difference. It's like 70% faster than the older standard. So your machine will run like lightning, especially with the newer 3 Mac OSs, okay? And the same goes for PC as well. I mean, solid state drives are really inexpensive, and it's not, you don't have to pay a company like an arm and a leg to have it installed and then put the new, Mac OS or, Windows on it. And it really makes a huge performance improvement. More importantly, I mean, speed is important, especially if you have like a business. The other thing about solid state drives, though, is that solid state drives are designed to last way longer. So your data, so if you have a machine that has a lot of sensitive data on it, and you might have your backups, and that's great and all, but you want to get a quality part so you don't find yourself in a position where you have to actually kind of temporarily close up shop, take it somewhere, or open it up and do all that bullshit. Solid state drives last much longer. So you're securing the data on there, and you're giving your machine a much longer lifespan in that area, because it's usually either the power adapters or power piece on the side or back of laptops, or power supply on desktops. Those are like one of the first things to go, and also hard drives, especially the older standard hard drives, because there's so many moving parts to these devices. They're like record players. Anybody remember the old record players from back in the day? So these older hard drives actually have like spinning discs with a needle controlled by a magnet that comes down and reads the information. So there's like a lot going on in these little devices, and which means that there's a lot more that can go wrong. And it's a bit more dangerous, especially if you have a laptop and you're kind of moving it around. So solid state drives, there's no moving parts at all, and so not only can you access your stuff way quicker, which means you can help your customers much quicker, access data much quicker, print stuff out, get things done much quicker, but your stuff's going to be safer. The information you have stored on there is going to be safer. So those are 2 really huge things that you want to take into consideration. And like I said, the prices have come down so much that it's really, especially for Mac users, it's something that you want to consider big time. It'll really help you out. And I'm going to tell you right now, you get a solid state drive, and or if you upgrade the RAM, even just a solid state drive alone will bring older MacBooks or Mac Pros. Like if you have the old Mac Tower, even though it's like an older system, doing a solid state drive upgrade will actually help the machines to run almost as good as the brand new machines for like, $2,000, $2,400, So, if you use Photoshop and After Effects and you have like a lot of different layers and you're combining stuff or whatever, you got a lot going on, having more RAM will help, and that's another really inexpensive route to take. So that will help performance in that area, and solid state drive will help the programs open up much quicker and give you access to the data on the machine much quicker. It helps the machine start up much faster, and again secures your data. So just keep that in mind. If you're having problems like performance issues, especially with Mac users, again, if you're using El Capitan, Yosemite, Sierra, and your machine's running slow, check out your machine to see if it actually has solid state drive, and if it doesn't, get the upgrade, and you'll be really happy with the results. So Give us a call if you have any questions. Message me, do whatever. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching.